Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Most Ottawa business owners are sitting on a gold mine they don't know how to unlock. And I'm not talking about real estate prices. I'm actually talking about expansion opportunities that are completely blocked by zoning restrictions that they don't understand. And here's the thing, zoning restrictions don't have to stop your expansion. But if you get this wrong, we're talking about six figures in wasted money and months of time that you'll never get back. So in this video, I'm going to show you the zoning loopholes that actually work and how to navigate them without hiring an expensive lawyer right out of the gate. So stick around. And for those that are new to the channel, well, welcome. And for those that aren't new, well, welcome back. My name is Belanger. I'm a realtor with the Metro City Property Group. We're the largest EXP team in all of Ottawa, and I help people make solid real estate investments using data, an analytical approach, and an investor mindset. My contact details, you can find them on my website at markbelangerrealty.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And again, all the bells and whistles are on my website. So let's get into the video. All right, so let's just start with the basics because honestly, most business owners have no idea what zone their property actually falls into, and that's where everything goes wrong. Ottawa uses a zoning system that divides the entire city into four main categories: residential zones, commercial zones, industrial zones, and mixed-use zones. Your business location falls into one of these specific categories, and that category determines what you can and cannot do with your property. It determines whether you can expand, what kind of expansion you can do, whether you need permission from the city, and how long that permission is going to take. Most business owners don't realize this until they've already signed a lease or committed to a specific location, and by then, it's too late. And if you're a business owner, here's a stat that should keep you up at night. According to the City of Ottawa's official zoning data, 34%, or let's call it 1/3 of business expansion requests are initially denied because owners didn't understand their zone classification before they even applied for permits. This is completely preventable, not because the zoning rules are impossible, it's because people don't take 5 minutes to check before they commit. So if this is actually on your mind as a business owner, here's what you need to do right now. Before you sign any leases, before you commit to any location, before you spend another dollar on expansion, go to the City of Ottawa's online zoning map tool. It's free, it's easy. You enter in the property address, you spend 5 minutes confirming the zone type. It's all there for you. Write it down, take a screenshot, do this single step, and you prevent 90% of the expansion problems before they even start. And here's why it matters beyond just avoiding mistakes. Your zone type isn't just about what you can do today. It determines your growth ceiling. Commercial zones allow significantly more flexibility than residential zones, and mixed-use zones sit somewhere in the middle. If you're planning to expand next year or the year after that, you need to know your zone type now because it shapes everything about what's possible for your business in that location. Okay, so you've checked your zone, you know where you stand, but here's where most people get confused again, because knowing your zone is just the first step. The second step is understanding the permission hierarchy. And this is critical because Ottawa has a permission hierarchy. Some changes require absolutely nothing from the city. Some require simple administrative approval. Some require a full public hearing with notice to the neighbors. Understanding where your expansion falls into this hierarchy saves you months, literally months. The City of Ottawa processes approximately 850 zoning applications per year, and that's a lot. But here's the problem, 62% of them are delayed because applicants didn't understand the permission level that they needed up front. They thought they needed a public hearing when they actually just needed administrative approval. Or they thought they needed a variance when the use was already permitted. They wasted time, they wasted money, and they delayed their expansion because they didn't ask the right question at the right time. So here's what you need to do. You got to get clear on 3 specific things. First, is your expansion a permitted use in your zone? That means, is what you want to do already allowed under the current zoning rules? Second, if it's not a permitted use, Does it need a zoning variance or a minor variance? And there's a difference, and it matters. And third, how long does each path typically take in Ottawa? What's the timeline? And here's the good news. You don't have to hire anyone to answer these questions. Just call the City of Ottawa's zoning department directly. Ask them. They'll answer these questions for free, and they're there to help, so use them. It's under the main line. Just go to the City of Ottawa. They'll answer these questions for you, so you got to do it. All right, so let's say you've checked into your zone and you've asked about the permission level and you've discovered that your expansion isn't a permitted use. So now what? And this is where most business owners make a critical mistake, because there are two ways to work around your zoning restrictions, and most people don't know the difference. There's a variance and there's a rezoning, and they're not the same thing. A variance bends the rules for your specific property, just for your property, just this one use case. It's like saying to the City of Ottawa, I know this isn't normally allowed here, but in my specific situation, it makes sense, and here's why, and blah, 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 blah. So you're making an exception to the rule. Whereas rezoning, on the other hand, changes the rules for the entire area. And it's like saying, we need to change the zone designation for this whole block or for this whole neighborhood. And most business owners think they need rezoning when a variance would actually work. And this mistake cost them about a year, a full 12 months, and it cost them probably about $20,000 or more in legal fees. And here's another stat. Here's the reality of it all. In Ottawa, variance applications are approved 71% of the time when they're properly prepared. That's a pretty good rate. Rezoning applications, on the other hand, take on average of 18 to 24 months, so 2 years, and they cost significantly more. If a variance can work for your specific situation, it always beats rezoning, always. So again, before you invest a single dollar in legal advice, ask yourself one question. Does my expansion need a variance or a rezoning? A variance is for one property and for one specific use. It's limited, it's focused. Rezoning is for changing the zone designation itself. It affects the whole area. It's a big deal. 9 times out of 10, a variance is your answer, and it's faster and a cheaper path. Variances work when your request is minor and it doesn't negatively impact your neighbors. Rezoning works when you need a fundamental change to how the area is classified. Know which one applies to you before you actually talk to a lawyer. Before you spend the money, know which path you're actually on. Now that you understand the variances and the rezoning, there's one more critical step that determines whether your application actually gets approved. And a lot of people will miss out on this as well. You need to know how to present your application so it actually gets approved. And that comes down to one thing: the neighbor factor. Zoning applications often live or die based on neighbor feedback. If neighbors object, your variance gets delayed or is often denied. If your neighbors support you, your application often sails right through. Most business owners ignore neighbors until it's too late. They don't talk to them until the public hearing is scheduled, and by then, it is often too late to build support. Applications with documented neighbor support are approved 83% of the time in their first submission. That's a really high rate. And applications without neighbor support are approved only 47% of the time. That's a 36-point swing. That's the difference between approval and rejection based on one factor: whether your neighbor supports you or not. So if you find yourself in this situation, here's what you need to do. Before you submit any zoning applications, go knock on a few doors. Talk to your immediate neighbors and explain to them what you're doing and why. And listen to their concerns. Don't dismiss them. It's easy to sort of fluff off your neighbors and kind of have the attitude of like, mind your own business, but this is really important. Address those concerns if you can. And if you address their concerns and they're satisfied, ask them if they'll support your application. Get written letters of support and you submit those with your application. It changes absolutely everything and it increases your odds. And the truth is, neighbors aren't your enemy. They're your first line of approval. A business owner who communicates early and addresses concerns moves through the zoning process 40% faster than the ones who keep their neighbors in the dark. 40% faster. That's obviously pretty significant. All right, so let's recap a little bit. You understand your zone, you understand your permission hierarchy, you understand the variance versus rezoning, and you understand the neighbor factor. But now you're asking yourself, do I do this myself or do I hire someone? And that's a legit question. Not every zoning situation needs a lawyer, obviously. Some applications you can file yourself in an afternoon, while others require professional expertise. Or if you don't, you'll waste months and months. And knowing the difference will save you thousands of dollars. Business owners who hire a zoning consultant or a lawyer spend on average of about $3,000 to $8,000 on professional fees. And that sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But they also get approved 89% of the time on the first submission. And you compare that to the DIY applications, which get approved only 54% of the time on the first submission. And the math is clear. Professional help often saves money overall because you're not reapplying, you're not delaying, and you're getting approved the first time. So here's how to decide. Simply ask yourself, is my expansion a simple permitted use within my zone? If yes, file it yourself. You don't need any sort of legal help for that. Is it a minor variance with no neighbor opposition? Likely. Well, you might be able to DIY it. Is it a variance with complex neighbor dynamics or a rezoning situation? Well, in that case, hire a professional. Your time is worth more than the fee. Your growth potential is worth more than the fee, so get the legal advice. The goal isn't to save money on professional help. The goal is to get approval fast so you can execute your expansion and grow your business. Sometimes the cheapest path is the slowest path, and the slow is expensive. Okay, so now I want to mention something that's going to affect Ottawa business owners in the coming months. The City of Ottawa is proposing new zoning regulations. They're updating the zoning code, and some of these changes are going to open up new opportunities for business expansion. And some of them might also create new restrictions. So if you're planning an expansion in the next year or two, you need to pay attention to what's coming. These new regulations can make your expansion easier, or obviously they can make it more complicated. Either way, you need to know what changes so that you can plan accordingly. My understanding is that these zoning changes are going to take effect in the fall of 2026. And I'm going to be releasing more detailed videos about the new proposed zoning as we get closer to the implementation. So make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss out on this particular news. All right, I think I'm going to wrap up the video here, ladies and gentlemen. There's always changes going on in real estate in the City of Ottawa. I will do my best to keep you updated in the coming weeks and the coming months. I look forward to putting these videos together on a weekly basis. Check me out at markbelangerrealty.com. All my contact details are there. Got a library of videos. I got a whole bunch of demographic information. More importantly, reach out to me when you're ready. Let's have a conversation. Let's spend a half an hour over coffee. Let's discuss your plans. I'd be very, very happy to help you. As a business owner myself, this is right up my alley. And at the Metro City Property Group, we have a full commercial division, which any of my colleagues can help you as well. So be very, very happy to do that. So again, I look forward to putting these videos together on a weekly basis. Until the next video, stay smart, stay invested. I'll see you in the next vid.